All right. Is this recording yet?
Or please
Well,
cut that.
I just want to say, no. I just want to say something. You will get nothing. You will get nothing from me. We offer nothing.
There's
here.
no food. It's just the
At
smell of
Meanspiration,
Christmas.
we have no food. We have no drinks. Bonnie McFarlane was like, I'm so thirsty. Like, please. And she doesn't drink out of plastic.
I knew that you weren't gonna have a bottle of water for me, so I brought my own. You think I didn't?
I know shit. I was gonna do a solo episode, and then I was thinking we had so much fun on your podcast. I was like, oh, we should just talk shit because we have similar anxiety. I feel like
we are very
similar anxious energy, but not in a bad way. I think it's we work on it ourselves.
I have since I started meditating about 2 years ago, and then I started noticing my nervous energy around comedians and around people started like really being suppressed. And then I started doing acting classes right around the same time.
Oh, I didn't know you were gay.
So gay. And
you're a bleep it out. Wait, can you give me my...
I mean, I let a guy touch my penis for a bump of ketamine back in 1998.
Let's talk about Special K for a second.
Okay, cool.
Oh, also, this guy's racist. This is my racist puppet. And he has pictures of my asshole, so I have to let him be on my podcast.
He's a Muppet. He's a racist Muppet.
What do you think about Josh going to acting classes? You think he's a what? Stop. That's rude. You're going to get us canceled.
All right. That's a good point.
Oh, shit. I think he's gay. He's trying to suck your dick, dude.
Oh, fuck.
Oh, my
Jesus
God.
Christ. Oh, my God.
Whoa.
Give me some of that Muppet love.
Look, he's using his hand on your balls. Whoa, he's good.
How do you know?
Whoa.
Dude, Frank Oz. Frank.
I have a whip because Anthony accidentally showed my tits on one of my podcasts. He forgot to black him out or something happened, some editing issue. And so he had to be punished. So I was going to whip him and I was going to make him tell his mom that he was gay, like dead serious. He was going to have to call her and be like, I'm gay. And just like let it sit.
Are you gay? Absolutely. You're straight?
Yeah.
Really?
But just have to like let...
Like what? Acting classes. You see that, people?
And then
I'm
going to duct tape him to a chair and make him watch the full Nanette.
I mean, even I wouldn't do that, dude.
But he didn't let me whip him.
I watched 5 minutes of it. I do the 5-minute test. The Soder does the 6-minute test. The comedy specials, I do the 5-minute test.
Yeah, no, it's the hour challenge. Kurt Nice to do it.
You know what's funny is I've watched because I'm trying to watch like my HBO Go password suddenly disappeared because I got to get in touch with my mom because I use hers.
I know what it is.
What?
Wait, hold on. Give me
but I want to watch Soder's special, but and because I can't, I've just watched Chappelle's special the last 3 nights again.
Do you want a sword?
Yeah, I actually want. So do you have like a nunchuck? You've got kind of everything.
My nunchucks are in the car, and so is my new Nerf gun that I like. Anthony, can you pass me?
Ninja means hired assassin.
Okay.
And that's kind of, these are all like, I love all these toys because they're really good metaphors for you and your comedy. Just sharp and slicey.
It's sharp and slicey. Give me some dick. It's phallic. I have big dick energy.
Why haven't you had, yes, you do have big dick energy. Why haven't you had sex? Let's get to the bottom of that.
Okay, I haven't had sex. Okay, February was when I broke up with my last boyfriend. And then I dated another guy and we fucked, but he didn't really pound me out. One night he gave me a good go. One night. And then he was trying so hard to not date me because he didn't want to date a comic that he just never gave it to me again. And so, so since then, so it's been like actual sex. I haven't had since... like April, and then like getting pounded out where I like consider it sex, February. Beginning of last February.
All right, very much like you. Before this past Monday, I hadn't had sex in almost 8 months, but I had hooked up with a few girls and we had like done like mutual masturbation.
Ooh, the Louis. You mean the double Louis?
There was a girl.
I call it a half Louis. What Louis does is called a half Louis. It's a half mutual masturbation.
But there was a girl in Toronto in September when I went to JFL 42. That was like we did. I mean,
who says the whole thing? Who says JFL 42?
Just to make sure that everybody knows, it's JFL Toronto 42.
People get so weird. They're like, why do you keep bringing up Montreal? I'm like, oh, have you not gone? I try not to talk to people that haven't been to Montreal.
You know what's funny, Annie? And I was talking about this to somebody else, was that I like get upset about certain things I don't get in Los Angeles. And yet I've been to JFL, Montreal. I've been there 6 of the last 7 years.
That's so fun.
And that's fucking dope. And those are the things. I've been to so many festivals, but it's just like, I'm like fighting for spots here in Los Angeles and I'll never be happy here. I will never be happy. So just be happy.
Happiness is inside yourself.
No, I know. I'm whole, perfect, and complete.
Oh my God, you guys, I'm a Trump girl. I'm going to get shadow banned.
You look good as a racist.
I mean, can you be a racist if you really want big dick and you know where it's going? It's like, I want big dick so bad that I know where it's going. We all know where it's going. I have the hoops. I'm from Philly. Like, we know where it's going. We know where it ends.
In the vagina.
I'm just not ready yet.
Right? That's where it goes.
I'm just not ready yet because I know it's true that I won't go back. And I'm just not ready. I'm not done with my white boys.
Oh, you're saying you're
white
gonna
boys
end
in
up
the
having
clitoral
sex.
head.
You're gonna start fucking black guys. That's what you're saying.
Eventually, I feel like it's bound to happen. Mother ayahuasca has come to me twice and said, you need to have sex with black men. They're kings.
I am surprised that you haven't had sex with a black guy. I mean that sincerely.
Well, from Philly, yeah. I honestly just never had when I was younger, black guys would always hit on me so aggressively, and I was
got
like,
a butt.
I was like, but I didn't.
You got the big hoops. You got the J-Lo hoops on.
Well, now it's been popping a little bit more, but the way that in Philly that black guys always hit on me was so aggressive that it was like I'd be driving down the highway and they'd be like, hey, man, like get out of the thing. I'm like 14. You know what I mean? Or I guess I wouldn't be driving. I'd be in a car with people that were too old for me. We were hotboxing it. I was probably about to get fucking raped. But anyway, they would come over and just like yell. It was just too like yelly and too like, it was just jarring for me. And so it never happened that way. I mean, I made out with my friend Chris Stewart when we were drunk. I remember, okay, so there's this guy, John Farley, that used to pick me up he had a Jeep with no doors and like giant monster.
So cool.
And he would blast ICP. Blast it. Like the loudest, like he would get pulled over from the cops because his sound system was so loud. They were like, what are you doing? This is unacceptable. So we called him Spuds because he was fat. He looked like a potato. But so he picked me up from school and pick me up to go to school every day. And then one day he was like, I want to hang out with you and your friend. I had this friend who was like really hot, super slut, bipolar. So you know she sucked dick. Yeah. She like lost her virginity before she got her period. Like she was fucking like in the boiler room and shit. Like, we're 13. And then when I was 14, I was like, I'm in too. But she, I thought I was late. I thought I was a late bloomer because my friend was such a slut. She was like, lost her virginity when she was 12.
Oh my God.
And I was
that's too young.
I'm like, what am I? Nobody wants me. This is crazy. And then I was like, oh, everybody wants to fuck me. That's weird. Mostly grown-ups. But then so we hung out with him. We went, oh no, wait. We weren't hanging out with Chris. We were hanging out with my friend Chris Stewart and my friend Mike Spiegel. And we got wasted. Chris Stewart's mom was out of town. He was black. Chris Stewart's mom was out of town. We raided her alcohol and we just got super hammered. We stole her car. We were drinking.
Oh, wow.
We were like, we were drinking screwdrivers because you're like a kid. You don't know what to do.
That's like the beginner alcohol. That's
or like a Cape Cod. Or
I mean, what's Cape Cod? That's
cranberry juice and vodka.
Yeah, anything. Vodka, rum, and then a juice of some form is usually what people start drinking. Like, because I remember when I got my first fake ID, I remember I stood in front of the bar in DC at Buzz and I looked at that and I was like, I'm going to do a White Russian. And I started drinking White Russians and then I threw up and it was just so milky. And then I switched to gin and juice and then it was just gin and tonic by the end of it. That was my like main drink.
Tonic,
but yeah, your first
like shit. But yeah, White Russians. I was in anything that was like sweet or like would kind of mask the alcohol because it didn't taste good and I was a fucking kid. But so, you know, I had poison ivy. I got poison ivy on my eye, so my eye was like sealed shut. This is how bad fucking middle schoolers don't give a fuck and are still trying to get their dicks in. Chris was like, come on. Like literally like crusty, and I was on steroids, so I got like extra fucked up.
Yeah. And
I was like blacked out. I was puking all of this like orange juice all over myself. Oh. And then the only person we knew that drove, like, because we were too drunk to drive his mom's car, was this guy, John Farley. So John Farley came with his friend and got us. And they were hosing me off like on the side of the street. And then they dropped me off back at my parents' house. By the way, it's probably like 2 p.m. at this point. It's like during the day.
I didn't even
They dropped me off
that.
at my parents' house. And I've been like making out with Chris. I've been making out with Chris on a bunk bed. And
with your eye all crusty?
With my eye all crusty. He didn't give a shit.
On prednisone?
Fucking trying to get pregnant on prednisone, bitch. So then, thank God I didn't fucking get pregnant or whatever. I just was like, I had to leave. And then they dropped me off and I went up to my room and I woke up like 5 hours later. Nobody knew my door was open. There was vomit all over me. Nobody knew. My parents were not paying attention. I didn't get in any trouble.
Yeah.
I got in zero trouble ever in my life.
So your parents knew, and they were just like turned a blind eye to
I
it?
don't think they knew. I think they just were like not paying
Oblivious,
attention.
just
Yeah, they're
completely
like, whatever.
oblivious.
My dad said that he one time I snuck out and he came into my room to like say goodnight or like, and I had stuffed my pillows like a person,
Yeah.
and he saw it and he just thought it was cute. He was like, oh, that's funny. Like he didn't think I wasn't there. He just thought.
She's probably hiding in the closet.
Yeah, like he was like, oh, that's funny. I'm like,
And then, like,
meanwhile, I'm literally
cut
with
to you,
gang
like,
members. I'm
making
breaking
out
into
with a black
house.
guy, like digga, 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 digga.
I was into wiggers, dude. I was into wiggers, which is a starter black guy.
I actually find wigger women very attractive. I like that fucking, ooh, with you, like that kind of like, nah, Joe, you know what I'm saying? And she's white. Oh.
There's something about the appropriation of the culture that's extra hot.
There could be the perfect woman, everything on my vision board of what I want in a girl and what I say I want with a job and money and all this shit, and she's there like, come marry me, like let's do this. And then there could be just some like wigger girl like, you want this pussy.
She's got like her blip
come
on
on,
her.
$5, and I'd be like, cut over here, Tina. You
She's
fucking,
like, pay my phone bill, bitch.
Yeah, I mean that is the fucking circle of life.
I
with
used
me.
to pick up dudes at like the mall, the outdoor mall in Northeast Philly.
Yeah.
And they were such garbage. I would get their pager numbers. I think I've talked about this on here before. I would call Movie Phone. Remember Movie Phone?
Oh yeah.
So I would page them at night, and then I would call Movie Phone, so it was call waiting, and it wouldn't ring in the house and wake my parents up. So I'd be listening to like the Movie Phone voice telling me like shit over and over again, and then it would beep over, and then I'd beep over, and then they would come pick me up. I'd like jump out the window.
Really?
Sometimes I could just go out the door. I mean, my parents were just not paying attention. But we would be like in a house. I'm like, why did we come through the window? And they're like, oh, none of us live here. I'm like, we just broke. We're just swimming in someone's pool that we don't. It was crazy. And then these guys got arrested coming to get me another time. And I like the smoke of this.
Oh,
I don't know if you guys can
ambiance.
see it, but it looks like a little smoke machine.
Here, I'll add more.
But he ends up, they get arrested, and the guy I was hooking up with was wanted for homicide.
Wow.
That was going to be the second time I hung out with him, and I'd only made out with him. Isn't that fucked up?
Was he a good kisser?
I don't remember. I think he wasn't. I think he had BO because he was probably running from the cops. He couldn't go home and get his deodorant.
14, 15-year-old, right?
Yeah, and he was...
Everybody stinks at that age.
He was older. He was like 22.
Wow.
I used to lie. I would lie about my age, but not enough for it to be okay. I would say I was like 16. I remember I went to I did John Roberts Powers modeling school. It's like a scam modeling school. And I went to, look at that.
What?
I was so angry. I was an angry bitch.
Cut my life into pieces.
That's right.
This is my last resort. Can't get suffocation. Can't no breathe. Don't give a fuck if I come up. It's my way or the highway. Wow.
All right.
You look great.
Look at these. All right. So my twin brother looks like Doug, the cartoon. What's a good one? It's just
That's
so
a great
crazy.
picture. That's a really good picture of you.
I was so little.
Look how tiny she is, everybody. She's really pretty.
But anyway, so I did this thing, and then I went to look at this, the boy androgynous. This one's
That's
slutty.
a great photo right there. Show everybody that
Lips open, ready to suck
that
some
one
grown
right
up
there.
dick.
Yeah.
Ready to suck some inappropriate.
Does that
grown-up
look like
dick.
like you're breathing?
Look at that. You can see the line of my thong.
Oh wow.
I did
How
have
old
a
are
good
you?
butt. 14, 15.
Okay, never mind. Take back all those noises I made.
Well, you know
Like,
me now. So. This is the funniest one in the back.
Tell me what you want, what you really, really want. I'll tell you what I want. I want a zig. If you want to be my lover.
Wait, you have to
My
sing to this
God.
one. You have to sing to this one. Hold on.
There's sporty
This
spice,
one.
scary spice, druggy spice.
Yeah, fucking meth spice. No, I was wet. I smoked weed dipped in formaldehyde.
Oh yeah.
Not too much. Sing. What's that one?
That is.
Should we just put Shane Gillis's thing over it?
Hilarious. It is. I'm trying to think. It's kind of got like a Bjork feel to it. You know, just the way
cultural appropriation.
It's very like Polish-y, right? Don't you
Yeah.
think? Like she maybe is from like Scandinavia of some sort.
Is there some Chinese song?
Cherry bloom, gently swaying in the air. But I see Bjork, so I see like, you know, and if you complain.
I like that Bjork beat the shit out of that camera guy.
Oh yeah, well that was
Bjork's a fucking
like the
baller.
first TMZ when she did that. This is
I feel
fantastic.
like I look the same age. But anyway, so I went to New York, and I had gone to sick. This is so white trash. This is so white trash. It's one of my props.
Yeah.
So okay, I went to New York for this like modeling convention. It was all a scam. I ended up running for my life from a 6'7" drag queen named Mahogany, which I told on the Joe Rogan podcast, and I'm sure on this a million times. But it ended very dangerously. But while I was there, I saw this guy, Sean Borg. If you're out there, Sean Borg, hit me up. I want to see if you're still hot. He had a twin brother. He lived in Staten Island. If you guys know him, hook it up. Not to hook up, but I'm just curious what he looks like. And okay, so then I'm 15. He was like 18 or 19, but I had told him I was 17. I lied. My mom lied for me. She said I was an older age. Isn't that crazy? My mom did not have fun in high school. So she was always like
living
trying
vicarious
to help me.
through you.
But but she wasn't like ever molested. So she didn't realize that I was just getting like fucking fucked by grown-ups all the time. Not him. He was cool, but I don't even think we ever had sex. But I met him at Six Flags. I was with my friend and her boyfriend. Mm-hmm. And I was in line and I was like, does anyone want to go on this with me? And there were these two twins. And the guy was like, I'll go on the ride with you. And it was one of those like spinny rides where it's like 4 people to the thing. And we like were making out. He was playing with my nipple rings. It was like so white trash. And then we just stayed in touch. I used to have these boys that I would just like call and talk to for like hours that didn't live there. And so anyway, so then years later I saw him again and my mom lied about my age.
How many people do you think you've had sex with?
I don't know. Not that many. Not as many as you think.
Ballpark.
40.
That's not bad.
50, 60. Under 100.
Under 100?
Under 100. Under 100. I don't know. Here's the thing. I was like molested, so I was hypersexualized young, but I still wasn't like into it. So like, you know, I lost my virginity at 14, but then I didn't fuck anyone again for like 4 years. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then I was like, I got sexually assaulted in high school. So then I was like traumatized in college. I didn't fuck my college boyfriend. I had sex twice in high school. And then my first college boyfriend, I just sucked his dick all the time. I learned how to blow on his dick. And then I fucked him 15 years later. I raped him. Honestly, he did not.
15 years later?
Yeah, pretty recently.
So recently?
Well, I was like, because he lives in a small town and he's handsome and he's like built his own house and he's got this like really good business. And I was like, oh my God, he's going to get snatched up. And I was like, and I never got to fuck him. So I was like, I came back in town like, hey, and he was like, this is so weird. Why are you doing this? Like, he was so weirded out by it. And I just thought like,
you were like,
I was
what's
just
up?
like, are you waiting for my pussy? And he was just like, this is weird. And so then he kept saying no, but we were like, he had built this like skylight in his house.
He's got like nails in his mouth. Like, I'm working right now. He's like, get off my dick.
No, he really was like that. He's like, I'm trying to get my work done.
While you suck my dick, can you hold that 2x4?
But he was just like, we were hanging out and he built this like skylight room. It was like so beautiful and romantic. And I was like, oh, I'm sure he's like, and then I like went to hook up with him. And he was like, no. He's like, this is weird. Like, I feel like I don't even know you anymore. He's like, hello. Like, do you want to like relax? And I was just like, no, dude, I'm only here for a little bit. And then I gave him this pitch. I go, I feel like this is like the last shot. And he's like, why? And I was like, well, because you're this and that. I was like flattering him. I was like, and you're going to get like married and have a kid. And he was like, all right, fine. So then we fucked. And then he was like ghosted me. It was so crazy. And I was like, I do feel bad, but what do you
did he take you to Pound Town?
Yeah, it was fucking great.
Pound
I knew
Town?
It was gonna be good.
Good.
It was great. Lots of coming. Very good.
I love
dick.
Pound Town.
But now he has a kid. He has a kid now. I was fucking right.
Yep, you're a prognosticator. You are the Punxsutawney Phil of pussy.
But I was like, ooh, I'm so excited to see this dick. I remember like going, ooh. I learned how to suck a dick.
How was it?
It was great. Huge. Great. Very
long
fun.
or thick?
Both.
Wow.
He had it all. He's a tall guy. But anyway, it was fun to like, but anyway, so then I just sucked his dick and then I fucked my next boyfriend, poor guy. He was not as good as the first one. And then like I had sex like probably once a year. And then I started blacking out and then Lord knows what happened then.
Oh, so you think it could have just been...
I mean, I kind of have an idea, but it wasn't too much. And then in my adult sober life, you know, I've had some moments.
Yeah.
Moments. You know, sometimes I had it for a while, for about 10 years, I had this guy that I'm not going to say his name, but it is a good name. But he would like fuck start me between boyfriends. Like when I would be like, all right, I broke up with this guy. I'm horny. Like, I know I'm going to come. I know this guy's good. And like we would get the morning after pill and he would just go, yeah, we just.
How many morning after pills have you taken?
Probably like 8 times.
8?
But it never affects me. Like some girls
just
get
2
like
more and you get a free one. You know?
2 more and they give you a baby.
Yeah. I've had.
But never like some people get really fucked up by it, but it doesn't affect me. So that I'm like, oh sweet, we have 72 hours to just fucking.
See,
Come in me.
I am really
Just
big.
me.
I am big on getting it to where it's close and then stopping and then either a blowjob or you just pull out. Because I've had one pregnancy scare. This is actually a funny story. So it was with, I'm not going to say her name, but it was with one of my ex-girlfriends. And I can pinpoint the exact nut. Like this, like literally it was a
nut is, by the way, my favorite. When people say bust a nut, I'm like, I'm yours.
Dude.
Like if a guy comes and he's like, I'm bust a nut, and I'm like, oh, like, and then I'm like,
it was,
I'm
yeah.
like, oh shit, I didn't shave my happy trail. Damn.
It was a create life nut. Like it was, I felt like I got her pregnant.
I'm
And also
horny.
I finished inside of her. It was just like, it was hot. I even said, I want to finish inside. And she's like, just do it. I know she wasn't on the pill, but you know, odds that you get somebody pregnant are slim to none.
Wait, tell it again. Wait.
So she's on top of me. We're having sex. I'm like, it's getting closer. And I say, I want to finish inside you. And she's like, go ahead. And then she actually was more like, do it.
Ew,
and I was just like, ha, kick, ha. It was a fucking life creating nut. And then a couple, you know, I think it was maybe like 5-6 days later, I remember I'm getting ready to do Comedy Juice at the Comedy Juice at the Ice House.
Congratulations.
This is early. This is
no, but it was good.
It was a
big
huge
show.
It's a huge deal.
Louis could have been there.
Yeah, Louis,
At the
maybe
Improv
Shang.
one. I did it with
Shang,
him.
maybe like a Shang or
Shang.
maybe like a Darren Carter was headlining. This is the Ice House one. This isn't
okay,
this is
the
Hollywood.
Improv one I did with Louis once. I was like, I'm the shit.
But the Hollywood one, you are right. The Hollywood one back in 2009 was like the biggest show in Hollywood every week. So she calls me. She's like, I'm pregnant. You need to come home. And I was like,
I'm
honey,
at the Ice House. I am in Pasadena.
I was like, honey, I'm
like,
going to the Ice House. And
Pasadena.
Yeah, I'm like, when we get, that's funny. When we get, like, let me just do the show and then I'll come home. And she's like, you need to come home now. And I was like, babe.
You said, come in me, bitch. This is your problem.
I was like, babe, you are going to be
like,
pregnant.
Don't say babe.
You're going to be pregnant in 3 hours. We're not getting an abortion tonight. We're not making the decision tonight. So I'm going to do the show. I had to turn my phone off because she was just calling me and cussing at me and calling me and cussing at me. And then I go do the show and then I turn my phone on and it's like 45 voice messages from her. And then I remember I called Angelo. And I met with Angelo, and I went up to Ange, and I was like, "Dude, I think I'm gonna keep it. I want her to keep it. I want to be a dad." And he goes, "Are you fucking nuts?" He's like, "Yeah, dude." He's like, "Are you fucking nuts? She's a crazy psycho bitch, dude. You can't. I mean, she's great.
You just have
she's
to
your
block
girlfriend,
her, yeah.
but you know, she's your girlfriend, but she's crazy." And I was like, "Yeah, you're right." And then I go inside, and she's sleeping, and I wake her up.
You punch
and
her
then
in the pussy until it's gone.
I just like,
knock that baby
I just
out,
do a
bitch.
fucking elbow drop in her hack. And I go, and I remember I wake her up, and we start talking, and I say, what do you want to do? And she's like, what do you want to do? I go, I'll do whatever you want to do, but if it's up to me, you know, I'm going to wait till you say yours. And she's like, well, I think I want to keep it. And I go, okay, let's do it. And then she goes, really? And I'm like, yeah. And she's like, you know what? On second thought, I think we should get rid of it.
She's like, I don't like a man that makes like decisions like that. It just seems too much.
And so she's like, I don't want to keep it. And I go, all right, cool. If that's what you want to do, that's what we're going to do.
She's like, you're coming on too strong.
So we set up the appointment. I think it was like 2 or 3 weeks later, and I drive her to the Planned Parenthood in downtown LA, right by USC. And USC
Easy.
Hospital.
How
and I remember
easy.
we pull up. It's raining too, by the way. And also, I had scored some the night
About
before.
to rain some fucking blood and baby into those undies.
The night before, I went out and I scored some some Vicodin. So I had like this back of my heavy.
Was it for her or for you?
No, it was for me. It was for me. I wanted to make sure I felt good.
Like, I don't want my genitals to hurt.
I didn't know how long the procedure was going to take. How long I have to wait.
I think it's just like a.
It's a little bit longer than that. I mean, well, here's the deal. So I'm a little high.
I can judge you.
We pull up to.
You did what to what, baby?
We did. So we pull up, and as we pull up to the place, there's like protesters out front. There's like 5-6 people with like tape on their face holding.
It.
Yeah, well, no, they had tape on their mouths, so they're like they're the voices of the baby. It was some bullshit like that. And we go in. And I remember we sign her in and we wait for 5 minutes and then they call her in. And then I'm sitting in the waiting room. And there's like 5 other guys in the waiting room, right? We're sitting in the
also banged her. It was so weird. She did like a Father's Day thing.
They were
like
all
that
there
movie.
for her. Yeah.
She's like, I just need someone to pay for this abortion. Can you guys all split it?
So we're waiting there, and the guys are waiting for their girls, and on the television, it's MTV Trace, and there's that song by Jay-Z and Alicia Keys on, the one that's like, in New York, I keep on, and I'm sitting there, and that's playing, and it's on really loud, and I'm just like, I want to keep this kid. I want to have this baby. And I just jump up and I run up to the counter woman and I'm like, excuse me, ma'am. I was like, my girlfriend just went back there.
Push your knees together.
I give my girlfriend's name. I'm like, it's blank. It's so-and-so. I was like, you got to stop the procedure. And the black lady behind the counter goes, oh, honey, she's already under. And I just go, all right, cool. And then I just go sit back down. That was it. That was like my one moment of yeah, gotta stop this. And then as soon as she was like, yeah, it's already going on.
Pregnancy scare is when someone's not pregnant.
Yeah, what do you mean?
Like a pregnancy scare is when someone's like, I think I'm pregnant, and then they get their period. A pregnancy scare is not when you got someone pregnant and had an abortion.
Oh, really?
That's called an abortion.
Oh, okay.
Now, okay.
Do you keep bush?
Sometimes. It depends on what's going on in my life. After breakups, I'm like, fuck all of you. I'm always like, I need a fucking man with a fetish. I'm lazy. But it depends. But I'm never going to be like a Brazilian wax girl ever again. I'm too old for that shit. You gotta keep it little. It's like, can I be a person? I don't want to be a Barbie doll, please.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm not gonna upset anyone.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna be like, no one's gonna go ah.
Yeah, I didn't think so. You're not going to let it get wild and crazy. It's not going to
smell like if you're
you don't want it to look like Phil Spector, but at the same time,
if your pussy hair's too long, it absorbs too much smell. I feel like.
Really?
Yeah, it gets too musky.
I believe that. Sure, why not?
Because there's just more to cling to.
No, that completely makes sense. A lot of juices and stuff down there, and it's like when you're active, especially if you go to the gym.
It just depends on honestly which boyfriend because I am generally not fucking. I'm generally not hoeing at all. I'm usually just in a relationship or I'm just so horny. Just maybe my hoeing years are done. I want to have a kid though, so I'm so now it's different. I'm looking for love.
Cut the camera.
I'm looking for a partner. And
you'll find one.
I think I will. I think I can have whatever I want. But I also want to get to a certain level in my career before I even worry about that too. So I have about 6 months and we got to make this happen before things are dried up. That's the cracking of my eggs. My fucking ovaries are coughing. But what were we talking about? Bush before Bush. I used to always have a Dorito. I would have a little Dorito.
A Dorito?
A little triangle Dorito.
That's cool.
That was my jam. Now I don't care, but I was my last boyfriend was so such a sex addict that it was cool. He didn't care about anything. He was just give it to me. I'm all right, great. I don't fucking do anything.
How many times a day?
3 times a day usually.
3? Mm-hmm. It's so easy for a girl, but it's just, I couldn't imagine. I mean, I could if we space it out. If we do morning,
it
afternoon,
hurts.
and night.
Eventually it was it hurts, and all of a sudden you start smelling like penny. You're like, oh no, there's blood. You're making me bleed.
Really?
His dick was really big too, so it was a lot.
I think I know who it was.
Yeah, because
it's tall. Tall, huge.
No, I dressed him in pants where you could see how big his dick is, and now I look at him look at that dick. Look at those jeans. But yeah, that was just a lot. But it was fun. But now I feel like when I'm dating older dudes, they're they can't fucking keep it up.
What's older to you?
Late 40s.
God, that's so weird. I'm so close to that now.
How old are you?
40.
No, that's 40. Not old to it. The last guy I dated was 48.
That's not old, but I'm close to being old.
I'm getting closer.
And 50's not old.
I don't think it's old. I just feel like your sex drive just doesn't my well, I don't want to say who it is because that's weird, but someone I roll with in jiu-jitsu, he was telling me he's in his 40s and he's like, yeah, I just don't give a fuck about getting a blowjob anymore. He's like, it just, that part of my life is just done. I used to chase pussy and stuff. He's like, I just don't give a shit anymore. And I'm but now I like my age range. I like to date someone who's in their early mid 40s because it's I'm 36, so I like someone who's 5-6 years older than me. I feel like that's a good difference, and they're usually have their lives together and shit. But they're starting to the decline, and I'm the horniest I've ever been. So I'm I liked having a sex addict boyfriend. That was fun.
Yeah,
I enjoyed that. So
maybe you're a sex addict.
I mean, maybe I masturbate a lot. I have to quit masturbating again because it's doesn't feel good anymore.
How many times a day?
All day. Just all day.
I mean, you're masturbating right now.
It's all. I mean, most of
right before me and Anthony showed up.
I made a conscious choice to not masturbate today because I'm like, it doesn't feel good. It's like too much, and I'm like, I just started like talking to this guy, and I'm like hoping we're gonna bang, and I want to like be like ready to go. I don't want to be like all blown out. I don't want to like numb my pussy out. But we'll see. I got a couple prospects. There's like one guy that I want to hook up with. That's like, it'll be fun. It would be fun, but it's like he's not like an established thing yet, and I just
what do you mean established?
Like he's not established in like his dreams yet. He wants to do something. He's like an actor, and
but wouldn't you consider that sex to be probably even better, because now that he's not at the place where he wants to be career wise, he wants to make up for it in the way that he fucks?
I think he's gonna fuck the shit. I think like he would fuck the shit out of me, like up against a wall, which is like what I want. Like that's what my pussy wants, but because I want to have like a kid, and I feel like I'm like harnessing my chi, and like I have like this power in me now because I haven't fucked in so long, and I think that I'm like a magnet right now, and everybody's trying to bang me. Not trying to be cocky, but I am peaking. It's real. It's fucking real, dude. And it's because my eggs are about to dry up. I've been trying to do a joke about how it's like Gucci's about to go out of business. People are like, come get Gucci. Everyone's like, we better get it before it goes out of business. That's how it feels. But because the shit's about to dry up. But I want I'm looking for something like a little bit more like soul shit. Like I want to like fucking.
You want to meet a partner.
I want a partner, but but it's like.
So do I.
Because I don't I dated I've dated guys that don't have their shit together, and I hate that. I hate dating someone who's like you're their life. I hate that.
That's every girlfriend I've ever had. They have no hobbies.
They start listening to your music, like all that stuff.
I have no hobbies. They have no hobbies besides me. Yeah. And it kills the relationship. That was why, the girls I've been looking for now, I want them to have their own life, and I want them to want to be alone. So it's not like
boundaries.
so it's like here's their life, here's my life, and we meet right in the center. Just a nice little small thing where it's like maybe we hang out twice a week.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like we don't, because dude, I remember the two girlfriends that I've had, one of them, we moved in immediately. Like within a week, I was like, I brought a bag over to her house.
Like me.
She was like, I want you. She's like, just, why would you stay at your house and just stay with me? And she was gorgeous. And she's cooking for you, and she had like a television and warmth. You know what I mean? I was like living.
Warm pussy.
I was living with Byron, and Angela was crashing with me. We had this like female roommate.
Wait, did they both have the same last name?
Byron Bowers and Angela Bowers, yeah.
That's so funny.
And it was great. And they at the Comedy Store.
I never met Angelo.
You didn't?
No, I met you right after all that shit went
I remember
down.
that. I remember you met, because I remember, I think we reached on MySpace or something. You had reached out to me about you were coming to LA to visit. Yeah. And Ange and Byron both had the last name Bowers, and they used to put them back to back at the Comedy Store to see the Battle of the Bowers.
That's so funny.
Yeah, they used to do a lot of fucked up shit.
I guess Byron won.
I remember one time, an ex-girlfriend of mine tried comedy, and they lumped us together.
Yeah, they
and then Tommy ran up to her, and he was like, "You're a star," and I was like, "What the fuck, dude?"
I asked when I yeah, fuck you, dude. When when I first broke up, I just told Adam, I was like, hey, can you just put one between us? Not because I just was codependent. I'm codependent. So it's like, I just would be too involved in his set. Like, it wasn't like hard feelings or anything like that. It's just like, I didn't want to be thinking about his set when I was about to go up. So he would put one between us, and now we're fine. And he can put us whenever. Yeah. But we do tend to go back to back.
You guys are both you guys have a certain attitude. I can see why.
I don't mind it. I mean, that was one of my favorite things about our relationship was it was so fun to write together, because we were best friends for 10 years. So we were always writing jokes together. And
how did that happen?
How did that happen?
Yeah.
I was hooking up with this guy this open mic kid I didn't respect at all. Sorry if you're watching. It's the truth. I'm sorry. It was never going to happen. But I was hooking up with him, and I would compartmentalize, and that's been done to me since. So it's funny to feel that hit where I was like, Liev Schreiber was my best friend. And I got all of my man, taking care of me. We would lend each other money. We were each other's emotional support. We laughed. We wrote jokes together. And then I just had this loser I would fuck. And so I was going to fuck that guy. And Liev Schreiber. I just started working for Sacha Baron Cohen together. So we were in a room together. We were laughing. We were making money, successful. We had just moved out to LA. We were renting an Airbnb together, and we were just about to move in together. as friends, as roommates. And I was going to fuck this other dude, and he was like, wait, he's like, don't go. And he kept bringing Molly home. We kept doing Molly, and I would like kind of let him like touch me when we were doing Molly. I would let him like hug me or whatever. And then we'd be done, like, get off me, dude.
Yeah.
Because he had promised years ago. I used to have this necklace, this pig necklace.
I remember that.
Yeah. And I got really upset one day. Someone like said something shitty to me, and I like came back to his house because I would stay with him and his ex-girlfriend in New York. I came back to the house and I was like crying. Someone just said something so mean. It just hurt my feelings. And he's like, take this shit off. And he didn't like yank it off me, but he pulled it off. I mean, he kind of yanked it off me. He was like, give me the necklace. And he's like, threw it out. He was like, you can't wear this anymore. You're not a fucking pig. You need to like reassess your shit. And he was like, look, like I was like, and he was like, you know, like hugging me and give me little kisses on my head. And he's like, I'll never betray you. I'll never hit on you. Like, you can always like count on me to just be your friend. Right. So I felt completely safe with him. Like he was never going to do that. And at that point, I had just been like, I had really been like molested and assaulted like so many times that I had such a weird thing with men and with power that I felt like if guys hit on me, it was like an insult. I didn't understand that it was like flattering.
Yeah.
So guys would hit on me and be like, fuck you. What, you don't think I'm funny? And they're like, no, that's why I'm hitting on you.
Yeah.
So anyway, so then that was like a couple years before. And then so we were in the apartment. We'd done Molly like 3 times in a row. I was like, why does he keep doing Molly? This isn't even fun anymore. And then I was going to hook up with this other guy, and he was like, stop. He's like, I'm in love with you. Like, you should be with me. He's like, you're my girlfriend. Think about it. And I was like, I guess. He's like, you're already my girlfriend. I got really upset because we were working together. And I felt like, I don't know, I had like a fear reaction. And I was like, felt betrayed because he promised he wouldn't do that. So then I just like went in the other room and like cried for like a day. And then we did a podcast together, a live podcast. And the host of the podcast was like really mean to me. And I can tell you the full story when I'm off air because I made up with him and I don't hold a grudge. But he was so mean to me that I started crying on stage. Leave Schreiber. It's like, do you want me to beat him up like afterwards? And I just had never been protected. I always was just like the Jungle Book kid, like out by myself, like running for my life. Like nobody was like watching me ever. And I was always like, I love my brother so much, but I always was like, why didn't you like, I didn't have that like men. Like I did the Race Wars, or not Race Wars, the roast battle podcast, and Coach T was like, you know what, I told the story and he was like, you know what you needed? I told him all my crazy stories. He goes, you needed a man in your life, your dad or one of your brothers or like one of your guy friends to go to jail for you for one night, like to like go fight someone for you and go to prison. He's like,
just to show you like a positive male,
like someone to protect you and be like I will put my own shit. And so that had really kind of gotten me. And that's when I was like in this whole thing where I started to realize that the things that happened to me weren't my fault. And that it was just like these fucked up circumstances. So, and I had been protecting all the people that didn't protect me because I didn't want to like, I don't know, like if I said it wasn't my fault that those things happened, then it's like, it's their fault. Like all these grownups that let me down. So then I just was like really kind of like getting in touch with that part of me that realized like nobody protected me. And so when he protected me like that, and he was like, I don't want to punch the guy. He's like, but I have to. I mean, he made you cry.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, don't. But once he did that, I remember we went out for tacos afterwards and I like hugged him. I was like, nobody's ever like done that for me. And then it was just like, it was like fucking like heart open, like in love. I was so in love with him.
You were just down there.
But we were like working on this show together. And then I was working part-time and he was working full-time. And they were in DC the same time I had a weekend in DC. So I would like kind of go in and consult, but they didn't know I was like staying in his room with him. So it was like the hottest. It was like
you were already fucking at that point?
And he would come back, like he'd be like, oh, I'm gonna go smoke a cigarette, and then he would come pound me out and then go back to work. It was like the hottest.
I just can't imagine
it was like
him
literally
pounding.
The best.
I'm sorry.
Leave Schreiber.
I just can't.
This is so I keep talking about Leave Schreiber. It's like a lot, you know. But
I didn't know he was a Pound Town guy.
Oh my god, dude!
I've been to Pound Town.
I was like in the stars. I was like, where we hooked up for like 8 hours once. Like I was literally like in outer space. He's laughing because he's gonna.
Who are you, Sting and Trudy? Like no, Jesus
like
Christ!
I would like
8
fall
hours,
asleep, wake up again. It was crazy. Dude.
You woke up and he was like, nah,
no, we were just like sleep fucking. It was crazy for hours.
He's behind you, spooning you. I like that kind of sex. I like that. Like you wake up in the
so
morning.
Lonely. We're the loneliest people.
Here's what's funny. Because Annie and I talk because I started dating this girl that a friend had set me up with that was like everything that I've ever wanted. Very, very successful, like songwriter and like wrote all this music and like #1 hits and shit. And it just, I was in my head, I was dating her and she was only fucking me. that was the way it was. You know, she just wanted to have sex and I wanted to date. So eventually it's just it's the energies were off. So it just ended. But literally it ended like 2 days ago. And then we did the podcast, which was great.
It's over now?
I don't know if it's over, but it's
But
like,
you have to cut it
I
off.
have
You have to cut the hope.
dude, I really know what I want. I'm in a really good place. I deserve to have what I want.
Dude, Whitney, I was dating this guy on and off, and Whitney goes, I was like, you know, I'm done with him or whatever. She's like, but you guys are so good together. I go, Whitney, do you know what I like in a guy? Him to want to date me.
Yeah,
like, I'm not like, I don't have time for this shit anymore. It's like, if you can't get your head right and decide whether you want to be with me or not, like, get the fuck away from me. And not in a way that's like, I'm pissed, but just like, you're wasting my time, dude. Like, I'm supposed to be like a slut wife. Like, I'm supposed to be like on my knees, sucking your dick, cooking you steak, like I'm a queen that needs a fucking king. If you don't realize it, bye. I cherish my boyfriends, dude. Like, I bow down to them. Like, I don't have time for this.
Yeah.
If you don't see it in me, get the fuck out of here.
It's a good pitch. Really good. I
That's
suck
the
your
truth.
dick, I cook your steak, I
do.
bow down. Yeah.
I'm on my knees, bitch, praying, fucking blowing you.
So what's funny was this, I met some other girl at this like denim store I go to get my jeans repaired, and we've always flirted. And so
That's the most Josh Adam Meyers thing I've ever heard. The
Okay,
denim store, I get my jeans prepared.
I'm actually, as soon as I'm done with this, I'm going to pick up the jeans. She's going to be there. But she'd give me her number, and I just texted her like yesterday. I was like, hey, do you want to, like, I sent her an email that on Saturday we should hang out. She called me Sunday morning and was like, you know, do you want to go for breakfast? I was already at the dog park. So I was like, and I was thinking about it. I didn't respond back to her. I was just like, should I? I talked to my buddy. My buddy's like, Josh, you should go. He's like, just go out.
This is the denim
meet
girl?
her at the Oaks. This
But
is
you've
denim
not
girl.
hung out with her ever.
Oh no, so while I'm at the dog park, after she called and I talked to my buddy.
But the
We
first
never hung
attempt
out.
was let's have breakfast.
That was
Oh, I
that
like
morning.
that.
That
That's
morning.
cool.
So she said, let's have breakfast. I talked to my friend. He goes, you should go. So I text her back. I was like, can we meet around 11:30? We'll do like a brunch thing. And we go and meet. But and I'm talking to her, she's great. But because I'm still
like that
other
girl?
girl, I'm like asking her stuff like, oh, wow, see, you went to fashion school. Have you written any #1 hits or anything like that?
I know when you meet someone that's impressive.
Okay. Yeah, I was like, all right, fuck.
Because you know I'm talking to an impressive
Are you a millionaire?
dude.
Are you a millionaire?
It's
You're not?
hard.
All right, you're not a millionaire? Damn it.
All
right.
Well, you have did I tell you about my snake, my obsession snake that's like goes into boys?
Yeah.
It's like your snake's still in this other girl.
Yeah.
But when it's done, it'll be fucking bomb.
Well,
gone.
there's I don't know, like I wanted to give her some space, but I also wanted some space to just break off from it because
Yeah,
it was
you
just
gotta get over it. You get
intense
obsessive.
for like a good like month, and now it's like, she's already said she doesn't want a boyfriend, so do I try to stick around?
No, you ignore
That's
the
what I'm
bitch.
saying. It's
ignore her. Sit on your hands, dude. Sit on your hands. Ignore her. You can chase her in months if you want, but let her come back to you. Dude, fucking, well, I'll talk about this on my solo podcast. The guy from middle school. Maybe I should talk about it now. Okay, I'll just okay, we're not getting a fucking solo one. Is this going to happen? We should do two. Okay. I love Anthony's down. Yeah, no dents, bitch. I love it. All right. So I was in love. My first obsessions. Okay. So this is the thing I'm talking about with the snake. It's like I have like this obsession snake. And since I was little, I would get a crush on a guy and there'd be this snake that would just climb into his throat. Okay. And just live inside him. And I would just be like obsessed with him. And then like something would happen. Shit would be done. The snake whipping out of their throat into someone else immediately. Then I'm like, so I've just been like following the snake around, right? And just like right now my snake's like, where are you going? There's a couple options. Where's it going? There's one I really want, and there's one that like my pussy really wants. But well, let's be right, my pussy wants both. But maybe it can go into both, like a double penetration style. But anyway, so the guy I had the biggest crush on first in my life was this guy Matt who lived next door to me. He moved in when I was 11. His parents were divorced. His dad lived next to me, so he was only there every other weekend. So I would just like, till my parents moved out of that house, after all of like decades of this, I would still just have a jerk reaction where I would look to see if the lights were on in the house because I was so fucking obsessed with him when I was little. And so he moved in when I was 11. We were probably both wearing Umbros or whatever, and we had this like really fun hang. It was our other neighbor's 50th birthday, so it was like all these neighborhood kids, and we were all hanging out. We had a seance for Kurt Cobain. We had a Ouija board and shit. We were doing stuff. And I just thought he was so hot. Like I was like, he's the hottest.
Come back.
Eat my cancer, please. So then we ended up like, he started like making out with some other girl in the neighborhood, and I was so hurt. I was like, what the fuck? So then, but then we still like, we'd see each other every 2 weeks or whatever. And we got a little bit older, and we would like find cigarettes. We'd get someone to buy us cigarettes, and we'd sneak out to the park at like 6 a.m. We always planned it at the wrong time.
Yeah.
Because we were stupid. I mean, as a kid, you don't realize like
your
your parents are
you
going
don't
to
know.
wake up at 6. Like that's stupid. So we would put on all black, and we'd go up to the park behind our houses, and we would smoke cigarettes and make out and chew watermelon bubble gum. And we like, our other neighbors had a hammock, and our first kiss was on the hammock. And I just was like so into him. I was like so obsessed with him. I would go to bed and just be like, Matt, think of Matt. And I would try to dream about him. And then we like got older. It was like we were 13, 14, and he would come over, and we had a rule where we'd have to like take our shirts off when we were at each other's house. And he had such a good body. We were both swimmers. We both had broad shoulders. But I would put push the couch in front of the door in the TV room, and we would just like make out and watch, like we steal my dad's porns and watch them. It was like so crazy and sexual, but we never fucked. And then we stopped talking to each other. We went to boarding school. And then when I was 16, I had graduated from high school already, because when you take your teacher to court, all of a sudden they're like, you can graduate.
Yeah.
Congratulations, graduate.
Yeah, we should just get her out of here. It's going to be awkward. He's got tenure.
Zippity zip. Let's get this bitch out. But he had gotten suspended from school. So we had this like epic, like stole his mom was out of town. We stole her vodka. We got wasted. We like bought lobsters and cooked lobsters in a pot, and like just had this epic weekend at his mom's house.
I mean, that's incredible.
And I was just
shellfish.
Yeah, it was really good.
That's pretty
and
dope.
then I blew him. I gave him like the worst blowjob of my career.
But how old were you?
16. But this is why it was a bad blowjob, because I was into him. I didn't realize that slurping was good. Remember
so you tried to do silent blowjobs?
So I was like, I was so embarrassed by the slurping. Like I was so embarrassed.
No, sorry. Oh my God. I can't believe I just made
But he would always have these girlfriends.
like,
and then we would,
my
like,
God.
Yeah, I know. I was like, oh no. I'm queefing. I'm like, what is that? But like, why are you queefing? Your pussy's not even involved in this. But but then we didn't hook up again. Then we started hanging out again when I was like 19. And I was like so in love with him. And I was like, finally, I was like, dude, I'm in love with you. And he's like, I have a fucking girlfriend. He's like, if you want to go to camping, we can bang. Like, that's fine. But like, he's like, you're my best friend. Like, you're who I come talk to about girls. And I was like, okay. And then Snake was out of him. I was done. I was like, peace. And then we stayed friends, and it was like never a thing. So then I was talking to him on the phone yesterday. And I was like, yeah, I had such a big crush on you. He was like, you did? And I was like, yeah. And I was like, you didn't know that? And he was, dude, he was like, I was so into you. And I was like, nah. And he's like, I was like, you rejected me so hard. He's like, dude, he's like, Annie, I swear to God, I thought I was going to marry you. So I was always like, oh, we don't have to date yet because we're going to get married. And I was like, well, I was like, don't get any fucking ideas. But that's fucking cool. It's just cool to find out that this thing I obsessed over, that I was like this huge rejection in my life.
With you too?
I was like, dude, I wrote poetry about you. Like, I wish I could find the poems. They were so good because I was so into him. I like couldn't believe it. He's like never going to like me. And then he was like, no, he's like, he just sent me a text. He's like, I just talked to my mom, and she was like, you were in love with her. You used to talk to me about her all the time.
Wow.
It's so funny.
Dude, I had a girl.
I'm like, I win life. I get everything I want. Why am I ever worried about anything? Now I can't wait to get money. I'm rich. I'm abundant. Rich.
I remember there was a girl I asked out every week in middle school, and it was Heather Rogalski. I asked her out every single week, and she'd always say no. And then, and you know, that kind of thing like stays with you. It's like you know, like you just develop like, you know, well, what's wrong with me type shit.
What he said to me was that I would always, he's like, when you were sucking my dick, you were laughing the whole time. He's like, I felt like so insecure. I mean, he had a big dick. I do remember that. But like.
He's 14, 15. I don't know. How old was he?
Listen, the jaw doesn't forget. Okay. My jaw didn't change sizes since then. But, he said that I would always like, he said he leaned in and kissed me a couple times, and I was like, no, but I think I was just like nervous because I liked him so much, and I just would like, you know, like punch guys I liked because I was a tomboy. I think I threatened him with a knife once. He made out with my best friend too. Yeah. But it's funny to hear that now, and I'm like, that's something I just stopped doing. Like I just stopped being mean to men, like probably 3 years ago. Where it's like, I didn't realize I was giving off this like prickly thing. So a lot of the times I was getting rejected was probably dudes feeling like they were rejected. So then I've carried this rejection with me. This dude's carried rejection with me. And now you go. Sorry, I interrupted.
No, I get it. I get it about the rejection thing. It's like, that's the that's the weird thing about life is it's like at what age can we just start being honest?
And just not take things personally too, because you don't know why someone's rejecting you. You have no clue. Like this last guy was just fucking like stringing me along, breadcrumbing me like back and forth, like being my boyfriend but not being my boyfriend, and like cut off sex. And I was like, dude, what the fuck? I'm so hot. Like, why aren't you fucking me? I'd be like naked in his hot tub. I'm like, what the fuck? And he just like wouldn't do anything. And it drove me crazy. And it's like, I had to come to a point where I realized, because I was talking about it, I was like, I feel like if you knew you didn't want to date a comic, like it's fucked up that you fucked me. It's fucked up that you held my hand in public. It's fucked up that you were like so like loving towards me like that. Like you just, like that's going for my heart. If you want to go for my pussy, I'm not that hard to get. Like, you know, I get horny. If you're funny, I'll probably fuck you. You know what I mean? It's like, if it's the right situation, but it's like, he went for my heart. That hurt my feelings. And he was like, well, what was I supposed to do? I love everything about you. And I'm like, well, then you're supposed to be with someone like that. But then I realized that's what I did with like Kurt and that other guy. Like sometimes you just compartmentalize to protect yourself, and you know, you're like whatever relationship avoidant and you're afraid of getting hurt or whatever. So it's like, instead of taking it personally where I'm like, I'm rejected, he doesn't think I'm hot, or he doesn't think I'm like worth being with or whatever. It's like, it's his shit. So like when you're a kid and you're like asking this girl out every day and she's fucking saying no, it's like, who knows what the fuck's going on? Instead, we internalize and we go like, something's wrong with us. And it's like, nah.
Well, this is where this story gets good. So I ask her out. She says no. Probably at least 20 times I asked this girl out, it felt like. And I am 20 years old. I think it was on my 20th birthday. This guy that worked at Mr. Rags, which is like that like hip clothing store.
Sounds like a denim store.
No, it's not a denim store. Mr. Rags was like, you remember Gadzooks? Mm-hmm. At the mall, like it was like our Journeys.
Oh, I remember the mall.
The mall. It was a mall girl. It was a mall. Like if you wanted to buy Echo, if you wanted to buy Nietzsche,
that's where I would meet dudes.
Yeah, dude. It was like if you wanted to dress like I guess hip hop of the late '90s, early 2000s, Mr. Rags, and the manager there was a buddy of mine, and he took me to this rave in Baltimore. Excuse me. And I'm at the rave, and we're taking ecstasy and doing drugs, and there she is, right? Heather Rogowski. She's a raver ecstasy. Now. She's going to John Hopkins, and she sees me, and she comes up to me and approaches me, and we start talking, and she starts like throwing herself at me. Ooh. And basically, by the end of the night, we were at some house party. We had sex. Little did I know that her boyfriend was there. Yeah, but nothing happened. It wasn't like there was a weird, awkward exchange.
Who fucks with their boyfriends at the party? That puts you in such a crazy situation.
But do you understand like how much like retribution, like case closed?
Yeah,
like, the file is done. Like that's about as good. It never.
I know that's
in life happens like that.
Ever. Wait, can I just say
Not
something?
For me.
Can I just say something? I think it always happens in life like that. I actually think it always happens in life like that, and everything is a cycle. And if you're open to seeing it, you'll see it, because fucking everyone's come back. Everyone that rejected me has come back. I had a boyfriend who cheated on me when I was living in Santa Fe. I found out, how did I find out? Oh, he left his phone in my car, and I wanted to see if I like texted him like a spooning emoji, and it was like when it was T9 still, it was like flip phone. So I was like, wanted to see if it looked like a spoon. I was like, I wonder if he saves my text. Like no clue he was cheating on me, not snooping in any way. We were with each other every day. My dad had come into town, and I had one day where I was with my dad. Mm-hmm. This motherfucker, I look at his phone, it's like, last night was hot. I'm like, the one day I wasn't with you? He fucked this girl. He took her. It was like 4th of July. He took her to hang out with his family because he felt bad. She didn't have anyone. I go, you took this girl on like a family date that you just met, like the one day that I was with my dad. Oh. It was so funny. I mean, I was pissed, but it was also just like, you're such a psycho.
What a psycho.
So he cheated on me. We got married on ecstasy. Me and this guy. We didn't sign anything, so it's not real.
That's not real.
There was a whole thing. I was so scared it was real. I was like, this is literally the worst boyfriend I've ever had. I really do not.
You're like, this is so crazy. We're married. Here, give me a freeze down. And he takes a Vicks vapor up and he's like, blowing in your eyes, and you're just like, I was good at that. I was a freeze down guy.
Oh my God, drugs are fun.
Drugs are. You know what? They really are. I say this to everybody listening. If you've never tried fentanyl, try it.
No, stop.
Try it once.
Stop.
Probably gonna do it again.
It killed Prince.
It killed a lot of people.
Stop! Don't try it. Don't listen to him. Do not
just
try it.
Oxy 30s. Oxy 30s.
Guys, meditate. You don't need to do it.
Meditate.
No drugs.
Take an Oxy 30, then meditate for 20 minutes, and by the time I'm telling you,
ecstasy, have water with you. I was at a party where Robert Shapiro's son died. The fucking OJ lawyer.
Really?
His son died there.
Was this out here?
Yeah, it was an 80s prom party. I lived in Santa Fe. I flew out. My ex-boyfriend from college had moved out here. And so I came out here for spring break to hang out with him. And they're working on the Ashley Simpson show. And they had this, they were going to a party there. And they go, as we're walking in, they go, Annie, can you not be like, these are our bosses. Can you not be like, it was like myself. And they were like, it's before I was a comedian. I was still like this. Before I got on TV, people were like, can you stop being like this? The minute I was on TV, I used to get kicked out of Christmas. I would have to sit like in the van with the fucking dogs and shit during Christmas because people would get mad at me. The minute I was on TV, everyone's like, everything you do is hilarious. It's so funny.
Yeah, I get it.
But they're like, can you not be? And I was like, so when they said that, I was like, yeah, sure. Open the door, like, fuck you. Everyone like showing my tits, like, fuck you. And then I became friends with their
We're at an
boss.
old folks home, Annie. And you're just like, yeah.
Well, they were 30, so I felt like they were old.
Yeah.
But so then I like made friends with their boss. I like went on a date with him. I made out with him once. And then I flew out for his birthday, his 30th birthday. And there were like the Venus and Serena were there. It was like so fun. I just never had like Hollywood experiences yet.
Yeah.
So and I like looked great. I had like gotten in shape for the party and everything. And it was super fun. I had a great time. And then at the end of the night, everyone's like, oh my God, like I can't remember what his name was. But they're like, so and so's in the hospital. Like I'm like, what? Because I wasn't on drugs. I was just drunk. And I guess they'd taken ecstasy and like I don't know if he was dehydrated or what, but he ended up fucking dying, dude. He was like in a coma and then he died at that party. So it was like this weird energy. And then my friend, I didn't know that like guys want to fuck. Like my dad is like guys are only after one thing, shoes. I never was told like guys are trying to fuck you. So I always thought like, oh, we're friends and we like make out a little. I flew out to this guy's party. Like he's like, you're staying in my hotel. I was like, of course. And there's like, man, I was like, why are you trying to finger me? Like, I was just like, had no clue. I was young. I like didn't know. That's what all like I feel like the Aziz girl was. You know, it's like a girl that's like, oh, you don't want to just hang out in your apartment? No, bitch.
No,
they don't want to get to know you, dumb bitch. You're fucking 19. No one gives a fuck about you. Or 20. Like, you ain't shit yet.
Yeah.
But I didn't know or whatever. So it was like this weird energy. And then we woke up and the fucking kid was dead too. I was like, damn.
Wow.
I'm going to go back to Santa Fe. But anyway, don't do drugs.
Try them.
Like Special K.
Try them.
Special K is good. Don't do it all the time. It hurts your bladder.
Does it?
Yeah, it's bad for your bladder. I always look up because that one I was like, oh, I'll do it every day. It's fine. It's good for you. I'm like, no. Don't do
I mean, I mean, I don't even think you can microdose it because it's.
You can, but it's so good. You're not going to stop.
You know what? I had a problem with K. All in 19
Sure.
into 20 I was
Okay.
I sold it. But I used to do is I used to
Okay.
walk around buzz and I used to do like the sign language letter for K to show people I had K. So I was just like doing this.
Oh my God.
I loved it. I was I would cook it up in the microwave or with a hair dryer on the two plates, and then I would bag it up and I would literally pull $40 worth out. But
You're
like,
making
I have
me
to
crave a rave right now. I'm like, I want to go to a fucking rave, bitch.
I haven't been in so long,
Let's
and
go
that's
to a rave.
I don't know if I'd want
It
to.
would be
That's,
fun. You'd want to be so fucked up.
It's actually funny. I made a joke about Benny Benassi at the Improv, like fucking around about one of his songs, and I put it on Instagram and like tagged him in it. It's just me doing that digga 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 down digga digga down wah wah. You know exactly the song I'm talking about, right? Yeah, everybody does. And then he commented on it. He goes, I think you're making fun of me. And I was just like, no, dude, this is like you created
weird.
Something so good.
Okay, so Jonathan Lipnicki, the kid from
Oh, I know Jonathan Lipnicki
okay.
from
Jerry Maguire.
Jerry Maguire,
okay,
yeah.
When MySpace first came out, I was a go-go dancer and an innkeeper, okay, at a bed and breakfast. So I was drunk and dancing all night, and then I would come, and I was a nanny. I would either go hang out with kids with like fake eyelashes on my cheek, or I would come in like glitter and like still so fucked up at this bed and breakfast, like trying to serve people stuff. I actually got fired because I was so hammered one morning that I called my boss and I was like, I can't cook, I'll burn myself. Like, I'm so fucked up. And he's like, you're fired. I'm like, 100%, but I just can't do the job. I just have to tell you the truth. And so I was just like, I'm just saying that part just to like let you know where I'm at in my life.
Okay.
So I joined MySpace, and you can make anyone your number one friend. So I was like, oh, it'd be funny to make Jonathan Lipnicki my number one friend. And then he was like 16, and I was like, it'd be funny like if I like talk to him. So I'd be like, you are cute. Like, what's up? You know?
How old are you at this time?
I'm like 20 or maybe younger, maybe 18, 19, 20. I'm 20. But I'm like, and he would respond. I'm like, this is so funny. Like, this is the funniest thing. So then like years later, my friend Carly from Girl Code and I were talking about him or whatever, and I was like, oh, we should find him on Instagram. So we'd like tag each other in all of his posts and stuff. And then he just like got off Instagram at some point. I was like, oh, that sucks. Like, it would have been fun to meet him.
Yeah.
Now that I do comedy and shit, and I actually, and then Jordan Carlos, do you know him?
Mm-hmm.
He was like, I'm doing a movie with Jonathan Lipnicki. He blocked you on Instagram. I'm like, he did? And I was like, why? And he's like, he thought you were making fun of him and hated him. And I was like, oh, I completely understand why he thought I was making fun of him. Because kind of I was, but not really. Like, a little bit, it was just like, it's funny that you're this kid star or whatever. But it wasn't like, I liked him. I'm a fan, but it was just like, it was like kind of like teasing and being silly or whatever. But I love him. I'm like totally a fan. I would love to meet him and stuff. So then he just started following me again. He had blocked me and we're like, damn.
Thank you, Jonathan.
Jonathan, you're back. And then Jordan was like, do you want to go bowling? I was like, if fucking Jonathan Lipnicki comes. So Jonathan, let's go bowling. The human head and a bowling ball weighs 8 pounds.
Cut to 3 episodes later. I fucked Jonathan Lipnicki.
No,
he gave me that. He took me to
I
Pound
gave him
Town.
some lip dicky, if you know what I mean. No.
I wouldn't mind fucking like a childhood, like crush.
You know who I ended up working with?
Who?
Fucking Al from Step by Step. Christine Lakin. The tomboy from Step by Step. You had a crush on her.
I watched Step by Step, but that wasn't.
Step by step, day by day.
I don't remember it.
And there's
I
like
remember
a roller
Family
coaster.
Matters. I remember Full House. My friend Morty, one of the writers on the 500, used to be married to Jodie Sweetin.
Oh, fun. Yeah, she's friends with her. Christine's friends with her. She has a kid with him, no?
They do have a kid together,
cool.
yeah.
It's cool. It's like an interesting life. It's like, I'm always like, were you guys molested? Like, I'm assuming if I was molested, you were probably molested.
I think some of them had, it's like, can you imagine like how insane that would be to be 7 years old and have like
attention,
like having like real attention. Like I always say this about rock stars in particular, but rock stars maturity level and the way they act is at the age that they made it. So like Tommy Lee.
That's why I act like I'm 75. I act like I'm 75 because I'm going to peak at fucking old age. Finally, you guys are going to be like, let's buy her album.
And there's like, that's why you see someone like Corey Feldman at like, he made it at like, 11, and he still is just this ridiculous like dreamer like a kid. Now, I think he would talk about it because he hasn't. He says Corey Haim was molested.
That was my Corey Haim.
I once had a drug dealer who sold me opiates say to me, he goes, the only person I've seen take more opiates than you is Corey Haim.
That's so cool.
And he died already. Thank you very much. Yeah, it's like you gotta celebrate the little things.
Wait, can I just tell you, I started smoking weed again and then I stopped because I realized I was like, what is this thing that I always end up going back to something? It's like, because I know you have this too. It's like an addiction to doing something bad. Doing something like, it's like I was so like a part of my like identity was always like being a juvenile delinquent or like being a bad kid or whatever. And it's like always like this. There's been so many guys I've like bonded with because it's like we're bad or whatever. Yeah. Like, ooh, we're not supposed to do this. Or
it feels good to be, especially if as long as you're not hurting anybody, it feels good. Like, or it did. I always say my life was the most fun and the most enjoyable moment of my life was the end of 18, all of 19 into like probably mid 20 before I got my first DUI. Because it was like this, I was invincible. Like I did hardcore drugs, fucked 5 to 6 girls a week, all hot raver chicks, and like worked at like a Ruby Tuesdays.
Where you're like, ooh, those Janko jeans are gonna look good on my floor.
Oh my!
They're gonna take up half my fucking floor, bitch.
Dude,
let's bring Jankos back.
We can.
Let's go to the denim
I still got a pair of them. I got a pair of the UFOs still.
Let's be ravers for Halloween.
I mean, it just passed, but
next year
I'll do it.
I plan ahead.
If you really want to go to a rave, I can get it. A lot of my friends, one of my friends, Steve, who I've worked for many times in Baltimore, and I've kept in touch with him. He's one of the biggest rave agents in the world. And then Evan, his partner, I'll give you a fucking funny story, dude. Evan, his partner, throws the biggest rave on the East Coast. It's called Starscape. I actually did stand up at it. Here, I gotta tell this story.
Did they remix it? They're like,
dude, so there's like 6 stages. It's like 40 to 50,000 people there, and
I want my audience to be on fucking Molly.
Well, they don't have stand up, but what happened was I told Evan, "Hey man, can I get a free pass, like a VIP pass to come and be in town?" And he goes, "Dude, you should host one of the stages. Like we have this like live band stage where we're gonna have time breaking stuff down, so it's not gonna be continuous music. So you can go up, talk shit for a few minutes, and that'll be it." So I'm like, done. Day of the show around noon. He calls me. He goes, "Hey man, just show up at 11. I actually just want you to do one set." He's like, "We got it all figured out. We're not gonna have you host, but I really want you to go up." Now, I had no idea how much time.
Sounds like a nightmare.
Oh, it became that. Because so then I go I go to Baltimore because I was staying with my parents in DC. We went out to dinner, and then me and my friend Matt drive to the rave. We get there around like 9:30. We're walking around, we're doing some coke. And we get to the stage, and Evan's there. And he's like, "All right, man. So you're gonna go up around 11 till about 11:50." He's like, "You're going up between two of the biggest bands." So I'm like, "All right, I'm doing 50 minutes." And I've been doing stand up for about a year. Now I probably, and this is being real, I probably had 5 like good minutes of stand up that first year. Like 5 good that are actual. You know what I mean? Like 5 that they're like.
He had 2 good minutes, and he stretched.
Either way, I had 2 minutes, but it's funny.
You know
you
it's
stretched
true.
5.
You know it's true.
But I could do 20. I had done like 20 at like a bar show. I could.
This motherfucker is lying.
You know that you could do
Yeah,
something
you can
that first year. You can talk shit, and if as long as you're confident, people think you're doing stand up. So the guy says to me, "All right, so you can go and do 50 minutes." When I show up at 11 to go up, there's like the fucking like Carney guy working the sound system, and there's the main stage, and then there's like the stage ends, and then there's like grass here, and then there's like one of those like gates, or like little like protection gates for the audience, and there's kids. There's probably like 1,000 people just all over here, and then there's this small little box stage that, I mean, might as well be as the size of that little table right there.
There's a little table.
There's
right
a little
there.
table like this thing right here. It might as
For
well
the
be
listeners
that,
at home
that small.
and the watchers.
And I go up to the sound guy. I go, "All right, "Hey man, so yeah, I'm here." And he goes, "All right, just go up there and start talking." And I'm like, "Come on, man, you gotta like introduce me or something." And he's like, "All right." He's like, "Write your name down." So I write down Josh Adam Meyers, and then I say to him, I go, just because I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, man, these like they'll respond if I have a credit. Right. So I told the sound guy, I was like, "Tell him I did Letterman," right? I know.
People are always like, they want to fuck me so they can say they did Letterman.
Boom. So that's actually true. So I tell the guy, "Say I did Letterman. Here's my name." And I'm waiting side stage, and the guy goes on the mic. He goes, "All right, y'all, listen up. This guy says he did Leatherman. Give it up for Jimmy Josh Adams."
It sounds like you got butt fucked at fucking Leatherfest.
Yeah. So I walked.
Wait, have you ever been to Leatherfest, the like gay thing in Silver Lake?
No, I never have.
I went to Leatherfest years ago.
Yeah.
There was guys zipped up in body bags with just their balls out and people whipping their balls.
Really?
Like with a whip.
Like Cat of Nine Tails?
Like they're like, but they were into it.
Really?
Yeah.
Have you ever whipped yourself with that thing? Like really whipped yourself?
No. I borrowed this from my friends who I love them dearly, but they are Renaissance dorks. And we traded my nunchucks so he could show his son, and this because I was going to whip Anthony, but then Anthony's a fucking bitch. I won't do it.
The fuck, Anthony? All right, well, to finish this story, I go up there. Nobody's paying attention. It's like
that's the most painful thing.
There's like at least 2,000 people at this point now. It just keeps going. And nobody's laughing. I wrote all this rave material. I was like, this will at least take 20 minutes. I did all of that and all of my material. I felt like I had been up there for about like 20, 25 minutes.
3 minutes.
I remember I look over at my buddy Matt and I go, "How much time do I got left?" He's like, "Dude, you got about 43 more minutes." I was like, fuck. Then they start booing me. They started throwing shit at me. They were throwing glow sticks up high. So you see the glow stick coming, and then somebody would throw like a low beer.
That's so
like
funny.
the great snowball fight technique.
Wait,
where you
can
like,
I just ask you where can I just tell you where I hope this ends?
Where?
I hope someone flings a pacifier at you and you go and catch it in your mouth, and then it's epic ending.
I want to tell this on stage, so I'm gonna take.
Take that.
So, but like,
Pretend you
they're
haven't
throwing
heard
shit.
it.
I am bombing. It's so bad. It's so awkward. And then I see this kid sitting in the front that is so mollied out. He's like eating his own face, just like, and I'm just like, you get up here. And the whole idea was that he was going to be like a human shield for me.
So funny.
But then I start talking to the kid and interviewing him, and it starts getting a little bit of laughter. People are getting into it. And then I see this hot raver chick, and I see her boyfriend. Her boyfriend's this fucking dildo, and she's so hot. So I bring them up there to do this like
Can we do
raver
a picture
chicks date.
of like of a girl and then there's an actual giant dildo next to her?
I mean, I actually have pictures of all of this too. So next thing I know, it's like I get the light, and the guy's like, so that's it. I did the fucking 50 minutes. And so I'm like, all right, everybody, that's my time. I get this huge round of applause. And then I say, all right, guys, if you didn't like me on the count of 3, everybody give me the finger and say, fuck you. And I'm like, 1, 2, 3. It's like 2,000 people just fuck you.
That's so funny.
And then I bow, I walk off, dude. I am a fucking celebrity.
Yeah.
Like people are walking up like, Jimmy Josh Adams, good to see you, buddy. And I'm just like, yeah, they're giving me drugs.
Where can we see your Leatherman?
Yeah, I heard you did
special?
Leatherman. and so then they start giving me drugs, and then I run into a buddy, and then he gives me Molly. Now I had never done Molly before.
Just ecstasy.
Just ecstasy. And he gave me a pill of Molly, and I've also been doing coke, and it fucked me up so much. Like I don't think I've ever
Did you
been
wake
that
up
high.
with a sore butt?
Dude, Annie, I literally was in a tent from the majority of the time because I couldn't stand. I was just rolling on the ground like a beetle bug. Like,
Did it feel good?
It felt good, but it was overwhelming. It was like I couldn't stand.
Can
I
I
was
ask
so
you
fucked up.
something?
Like my vision was like, yee.
Okay, the last 2 times I did Molly, I took it and I started to feel everything ached. And I felt like I had the flu.
You're
and I
like, yeah,
couldn't
you're
move.
like, you're so
But
sensitive.
But it wasn't good. Like I just was like it was something else. Do you think it was they packed too much Molly in the pill, or do you think it was just like something else? And what do you think it was?
I think because
I never want to do it again.
I think because I had only done ecstasy. And ecstasy is a little bit of MDMA, but then there's also heroin, or it could be meth, or whatever is mixed with it. This was just pure MDMA in my body. Because I hadn't been doing ecstasy that often. I did ecstasy in 1998, 97, 98, 99, 2000, and then I stopped doing it around 2000. And
September 11th, he was like, "Listen,
and then
I'm done."
And then I never.
The towers fell. No more ecstasy.
By
for
that
me.
point, I was on opiates because I was in a rave crew. I was in a DJ drum and bass crew, and one of the guys, PJ, the DJs in our crew, sold pharmaceuticals, like specifically like Xanaxes. Excuse me. Oxys. He had like really good shit, and that's where I really got the hunger for, or the taste for opiates. But
don't do them.
Do them just a little bit.
Stop.
Just a little bit. Like if you hurt yourself, go to the doctor.
No. You're a survival story. Don't do that.
I'm actually.
People
I really
die.
am.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
Yeah, I mean,
it's not worth it. It's not worth it.
It isn't.
Learn to meditate.
If you're on them, get off. If you're on them, get off.
If you're doing drugs, it's because you have a feeling inside of you that you're avoiding. Okay, from whatever shit happened to you when you were a kid, and you need to fucking deal with that. You need to feel that feeling and get through it, and you'll be fine.
And
do not do the drugs.
And opiates
Learn
aren't like Coke and Molly are like fun drugs. Like you do them because you want to have fun. Like opiates are because you're trying to hide like that fucking the pain. Like you have pain. That's why people get into heroin. It's like you have demons and you don't want to hear those voices.
Jimmy Josh,
yes, from Leatherman.
the coke and stuff, even though it's like fun, that's to avoid like social anxiety and shit like that.
Sure, but social anxiety is a lot different than
shame
my dad did never love me.
Right?
Do you know what I mean? Like
it's all connected.
It is all connected. I couldn't agree with you more.
Fault.
I couldn't agree with you more. It's always our dad's fault.
And our mommy's.
So I'm on the Molly. I'm fucked up. I'm laying in a tent, and I've been in there for probably about like 3 hours at this point, and the sun's starting to come up. It's probably like 5:36 in the morning, but the rave is going strong until like 9 a.m. And I remember running my buddy Luis, and Luis is like, "Hey man, do you want like a pick me up because we're about to take off, and you probably should drive soon." And I'm like, "All right."
Oh my god.
So he gives me his little bullet, and I spin it. And I remember him saying, "Just do one," but I'm a fucking addict, so I did like 6 bumps.
Yeah.
And he goes, "Whoa, dude!" He goes, "I said do one." I'm like, "Dude, it's Coke." He's like, "That's fish scale. That's like pure Coke." And immediately I'm just like, "Okay, here, take it back. I'm just gonna go on a walk real quick," and my heart just starts like beating
you're on
out of
time, dude. You were supposed to be dead.
Beating out of my chest, dude. Like I remember I walked into the trance tent and I feel dehydrated. I feel like I'm gonna pass out. My heart is beating to the point where I remember thinking to myself,
time out. He said trans tent. Everyone was trans. Anyway, go ahead.
Everybody was trans.
Look at it in the monitor. We're gonna get a pickup.
And I remember I walk in there and I'm about to fall over and just like die on the ground of the trance tent. And this raver sees me, and I'll always remember what he's wearing. He had on no t-shirt, but he had a fucking like what do you call it, a life vest and like a snorkel, or like one of those like he had like the snorkel, but he also had like one of those like he had one of those like Japanese, Chinese like I don't want to get sick masks, like Zika masks. And then he had these weird glasses on.
Okay, Shane
Well,
Gillis.
that was the thing. That was that he had the goggles from the snorkel on, and then he had no shirt, but like gold dust all over him, and then he had Muppet pants, like pants with like stuffed animals that he had made. And I remember he walks up to me and he goes, "Hey, bro," he's like, "Are you okay, man?" And I'm like, "Nah, dude. I think I'm gonna overdose." And he goes, "No, you're not, buddy." And then he hands me some glow sticks and he goes, "You're going to dance your way out of it." And I was like, I grabbed the glow sticks and I was like, just like, and I lived to fight another day.
That's so good. All right. So where can people, this is Josh out of Meyers, by the way. I never tell anyone shit. He's a comic. He runs a podcast I just did called The 500.
The 500 with Josh Adam Meyers. It's a Spotify original. Listen to it on
very
Spotify.
good.
We go through Rolling Stone magazine's list of the 500 greatest albums from 500 down to 1 with comics, actors. It's great. I love it more than anything. Listen to it. Join the journey. You can find me on social media at Josh Adam Meyers. That's where all my tour dates and stuff are. And January 10th, I'm in the premiere episode of Bill Burr Presents The Ringers on Comedy Central. Really excited about that set. So watch it, please.
Also, tell the live show that I'm doing with you.
Oh, yeah, December 12th. When's this coming out? Like this week?
We'll do it Thursday.
December. So tonight, December 12th, at the Comedy Store, Shimmy Shimmy Ya with Annie Letterman, Brian Callen, fucking Brendan Schaub, Andrew Santino, and a huge special guest. If you know me at all, you know who it's going to be.
The hot cocks of comedy. I'm including myself.
Fucking big dick energy right here.
Not to be weird, I'm putting my Venmo up again, guys. We're getting evicted. So
send her money, man. Send her money.
So sorry.
Like Annie is
gross.
close. Listen, no, Annie's
gross,
close.
But it's like I am entertaining you guys, and I have fucking no money, and I can't show you my feet. I'm sorry. We
give you so much free content. Like if this in a time of need, Annie's in a time of need.
I'm really sorry, guys. I'm abundant. I don't like talking about it, but I'm literally about to get evicted. So just
I'm
abundant.
abundant. Hold on, that's the sheriff. I'm abundant. All right, they're taking out my couch. All right.
Help me. Repo Man's coming.
Oh, I love you.
I love you too. This is so fun.
This is great.
We're drug addicts. Don't do drugs.
Just
All right,
fentanyl ones.
Thank you, Anthony.
That was fun.